So I have Mario today. Mario, tell us about yourself. How long you been around? You're one of the OGs here.
Yeah, I've been around quite some time. I think I'm going into my 11th year with Teriyaki Madness, and yeah, it's been fun to say the least.
And you're in Los Angeles area. So where are your shops right now?
I have a store in San Fernando, which was my first store. I opened up my Silmar store about 5 years later, and I'm getting ready to open up my third store in Chatsworth. And yeah, each one of my stores is approximately 3 to 5 miles away from each other. So
Okay. And did I understand that you're looking at another lease?
I just signed a lease. I just signed a lease in Palmdale. That one's a little further out. And it was just an opportunity that came to me that we decided to take advantage of.
Wow. So you're accelerating.
I am accelerating. Definitely taking advantage of opportunities. I feel we have a great brand. I figured out how to do this and to do it well.
So what are the changes you've seen over the last, what'd you say, 11 years?
Oh man, there's a lot of changes, a lot of technical changes, a lot more tools and resources that we can use throughout our system. I haven't really figured out how to take full advantage of them because I'm kind of one of those old dogs that is kind of hesitant on new tricks. But I'm definitely grasping to the idea and learning how to utilize all these tools available to us that make this job a little bit easier. I'm still one of those guys that kind of spends a lot of times inside of the store, not necessarily micromanaging, but just making sure that we're delivering a high quality product.
So what does that mean? So give us the idea of your day. So you've got two shops open, you're opening one and you just signed a lease. So what do you do when you get to that multi-unit level?
Um, you know what? Just kind of spread yourself evenly throughout each one of your stores. Let your presence be felt. That way, your employees and everybody knows that you got your eye on things, and that quality and consistency is very important to me. So my day starts off normally at my San Fernando store because it's normally my busiest store for the lunch rush. So I am there from 11 to about 1:30, just to kind of help them through, get that lunch rush without having to put another employee on staff. It helps me keep my labor percentage kind of low, so it kind of offsets. My Silmar store is a little bit different. The rush comes in a little bit later. So then I kind of step in over there, and then I have my wife. My wife is, huge part of our success. We can't work together because we tend to bump heads from time to time, but we've created a pretty good balance, to kind of spread ourselves out throughout each one of our stores and make sure that our presence is definitely felt.
Well, it sounds like you're in operations for your lunch rush, you and your wife. So what's your plans for when you can't be in every store for the lunch rush?
Well, we're very big on training. Okay, so we make sure that each and every one of our employees are properly trained, and we don't leave them alone until we feel 100% confident that they're able to do the job and do it well. Same thing with our management team. We've been able to put together, a great team of leaders, and it's been some growing pains because there's a couple of language barriers and stuff like that, over here. But we feel that we have a strong team to pretty much fill our shoes in our absence since we're expanding. We do not plan to, abandon the store completely. We'll just create a different type of rotation. Maybe Monday I'll be at my San Fernando store, Tuesday Silmar, Wednesday Chatsworth, Thursday, and just keep that rotation going, and so on.
Okay, and how has staff been the last few years? You've been
I'm
able
sorry,
to
what was that?
staff,
Okay.
hiring people and keeping people. How's that been for you?
You know what? We take care of our employees. So in turn, they take care of us. So our turnaround hasn't been hasn't affected us greatly. We've been able to survive during the whole COVID, and we have a strong team, and I think a big part of retention is just kind of taking care of them and staying competitive, because they see those ads out there of people paying this much an hour and whatnot, and we have had those employees leave and then come back because of the way we treat them, and we stay competitive with what everybody else is offering.
So I think you said, at least what I heard was that you want to make sure that they get paid enough, but it's not everything.
It's not everything.
Right. So what are some of the things that you do, just in the way that you treat them? It's not even specifics, but what's your relationship with your employees and your managers? Do you do anything special for them, or that you consider to be out of the ordinary?
With my managers, we have monthly meetings, and it consists of a breakfast, and it's all positive at first, and then we bring up the negative, and we talk about potential growth and what their role is within the company, and let them know that growth is in their future as well. We all grow together, and it's a team effort, and we can all get there, and there's incentives along the way.
So they're as excited about your new shops as you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the growth, you feel, really helps with retention?
Yes, it really does, especially when they feel that they're part of that growth. Money is one thing, but when you're actually a part of something, it does something to you internally. You feel part of a team, and you guys are doing something together. So when you achieve, certain heights and certain goals, it's a team effort. So they get to, participate in, the rewards as well. And it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Everybody at TMAD and everybody in the industry has felt some issues with staffing and turnover, and that's just part of the industry. It sounds like once you get that team built, you take care of them, they stick.
They stick. You do have turnover, and when you're in business, you just have to continually be problem solving. So to every problem, I feel that there's a solution. You just got to figure it out.
Yeah. So let's go back to, I know with your new shop, boy, you had some permitting issues and some landlord issues. Everybody experiences some frustration in the construction process. Maybe you can outline some of the challenges you had and how you got through them.
Well, the challenges that I had was pretty much COVID, okay? And the city having to figure out how to continue to do business during this process. So there was no more walking into the city and having a conversation with somebody. Everything was all digital, online, emails, submittals, etc. So a lot of these contractors and city inspectors were unfamiliar with this process. So it just kept on blaming each other, and trying to figure this out. So it was just it was a nightmare, to be honest. And having to communicate with the architect, the contractor, the city, and everybody just passing the buck. Here, you figure it out. No, you figure it out. And I'm the one just kind of trying to figure this out. And this isn't a role that I'm familiar with. I kind of rely on everybody to do their job. My job is to operate a Teriyaki Madness. And I feel that I pretty much understand the whole construction, architect, and city business now pretty well because of everything that I went through.
Maybe you can help me a little bit. What did you do before Teriyaki Madness?
I did real estate. I did real estate investing. I would buy distressed properties, fix them up, and sell.
And did you have any restaurant experience?
Zero. It was a bad time for everyone else. Everyone was in defaults of their mortgage, losing their home. I had a little bit of money put away, and I was able to take advantage of some discounted properties. The market changed, and my cost of living stayed the same, and money was just coming out. Nothing was really coming in. So I just started to look into franchising. I was out in Vegas. I visited, one of the stores, and it was a great experience. It was a product that I pretty much eat 3-4 times a day, and it was great. So I started to look into Teriyaki Madness, and here we are.
That's a lot of teriyaki. Okay, so what was the biggest surprise? You didn't have any restaurant experience. I know we didn't have the support and training we have these days. What was the biggest, most painful learning curve for you getting into the restaurant business?
Figuring it out. Like I said earlier, I'm a problem solver, so we ran into a bunch of obstacles, our labor percent being through the roof, just pretty much the fear of not making any money, and just yeah. So the hardest part, you know what, it really wasn't that hard. I just kind of made the decision to, to dive in and do the best that I could and figure this out as I go.
So do you think that problem solving is a mandatory trait of
Absolutely.
owner? Yeah, I talk to folks and I keep hearing that over and over again. The problems never go away, but you have to enjoy solving problems.
Yes.
Yeah, the restaurant business is famous for that one. And the problems are everything from administrative and taxes to plumbing.
Yes.
You become
Yes.
you become a master of all trades.
Yes.
All right. So let's see. So let's go ahead and tap on this 11 years thing. You've seen
Okay.
so many changes. I think you gave a pretty general answer of all of the changes. What are some of the things that you've seen evolve over the years that you were surprised by? We've kind of kept the menu. We haven't messed with that much at all.
Yes, the menus I believe is a huge part of our success. The food is amazing, the freshness, the quality. I think that's one of the main ingredients that makes our store so successful. But the evolving changes is during COVID, us being on, the delivery platforms, people being able to, place their orders electronically and, pick up their orders at our curve. A bunch of other restaurants didn't have that. So they were forced to close down, and we were able to stay open. So a lot of people that didn't know Teriyaki Madness kind of trickled over here by, I'm not going to say by chance, but because we were ready for it. So I got a ton of new customers. They came in, they were like, wow, this food's amazing. We didn't even know you were here. So I think, being on those platforms was huge. And at first, I really, like I said, I'm an old dog, new tricks are, kind of, hard for me, but that made me a believer, and even now today, I'm going to say about 30% of our business is through, these online platforms. So being able to kind of stick to technology and, the upcoming trends, which you guys have done an amazing job doing, I think is a big part of our success.
Yeah, it's something that I think sets us apart. We got lucky with the technology. We invested a lot for convenience, but it worked really well for COVID.
Yes, it did.
So Los Angeles, California is an interesting state to do business in.
Yes.
Is there, I know what's it called? Fast tracks or whatever they have now where they're talking about dictating wages and time off and everything. Any kind of concern about that stuff?
You know what, there is a ton of concern, but you know what, you just kind of grow with the times. If something is going to cost us, more money to, operate, then, it trickles down over to the customer because, it has to offset. We don't want to do it, but it's one of those sink or swim type of situations where, you have to do what it takes to kind of survive. And training your staff to be able to communicate that to the customer and let them know that, what, this is not us. This is what, our city is imposing on us, forcing us to do business this way. So I think communication is a huge part of adjusting to these new conditions that the city is putting us through.
Yeah, it's interesting. The good news is that it affects everybody. So we all have to raise our prices at the same time, or we all have to make those adjustments at the same time. But I don't know. I see a lot of talk about that stuff. Well, once it gets into lawsuits and politics and everything else, it moves so slowly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your plans for the future?
Well, you know what? I plan to hit the ground running. I really feel that, I figured this thing out, and I I want to open up some more TMADs. I think I have a good little business model. My training, I got a strong team behind me. Um, so yeah.
So you've got probably more competition than anyone else in the country with Waba Grill and Panda. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that competition?
Staying consistent. I really believe that our food speaks for itself. I've tried Waba, I've tried Flame Broiler, I've tried, Yoshinoya, all of those. And I don't think those brands are at the same level as Teriyaki Madness. Our food is amazing.
Well, for Los Angeles, do you think that your customers are a little more health oriented, or describe kind of your customer, and are they different shop to shop?
Um, our customer is, I'm not gonna say health oriented. I'm gonna say flavor oriented. Our food just tastes great, and not to take anything away from those other guys. I think just our trendy, high quality customer service that we provide in my shops. Once they step, a foot through that door and eat there, we're gonna keep them coming back. It's just the culture that we've created inside of my stores. Just staying consistent. The food speaks for itself when it's done right.
Well, one thing you haven't talked about is service, and I've really noticed when I go in there, your counter people are trained really well. They smile, they know if you haven't been in there before. What are some of the secrets for finding those kind of people and training them so they're upselling and taking care of tables and doing all those things? You're one of the few, let's say, I think we're 2/3 folks who have opened in COVID or after. You're one of those folks who were open before the dining room. We've kind of lost a focus on the dining room. How about you
Uh,
guys?
I think people long for that human to human interaction. So I know I enjoy it when I walk into, other establishments. So I like to provide that to our customers, because I like to think I'm pretty average, pretty normal guy. So if I like it, I'm pretty sure, majority of people are gonna, like it as well. So we teach that. We teach that. And we hire on a trial basis. We give them a couple of weeks to either get it or not. After those 2 weeks, we determine if this person is the type of person we want representing, Teriyaki Madness as our cashier. They're the face. They're the face. They're the person that, they're gonna see when they walk in. And so it's a pretty important role for us.
Yeah, it can't just be a warm body.
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about staff. We've talked a little bit about the changes over the 11 years. What do you think? What's your best piece of advice for new franchisees who come in?
Get ready to work. Roll your sleeves up, figure this business inside and out, because every single Teriyaki Madnesses, I believe, are different, and you have to completely figure out your store to get all your percentages in check, your labor percent, your food costs. When I first opened up Teriyaki Madness, I was literally inside my store 14 to 16 hours a day to figure everything out. So I know how long it takes to cut a box of chicken. I know how long it takes to, cut cabbage, broccoli, etc. I I figured out the times for every single. So anybody else that goes back there and do it, given a little bit of wiggle room, because I don't expect everybody to love their job as much as I do. So I know how long it takes, and if they're not meeting that criteria, then you know what, they're pretty much milking the clock, and I need to make some adjustments.
So yeah, I hear a lot of folks talk about, you know what, I'm gonna depend on my manager. How long does it take before you can depend on a manager?
Oh, you know what? Until you establish that level of trust, to make sure that that your best interest is, what they're looking out for, So for me, I've promoted within. It wasn't like an ad that I put out, oh, I'm looking for a manager just because they have manager's experience. No, I took on that role until they showed me that, I was ready to pass that role and responsibility on.
And you think that takes weeks, months, years?
It takes, well, it depends on your situation. In my situation, it took a matter of 2 years. 2 years. And now my store manager is basically managing my San Fernando and Stillmore store, allowing me to free up some time and go create some new managers that are going to look out for me the same way.
Right. So you don't have to deal with operations anymore. You can focus on development of new shops in your team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good, good. What do you think the biggest mistake new franchisees make?
Taking their eye off the ball, expecting things to pretty much run on their own and, relying too much on somebody. And you know what? That's I think that's a huge mistake. Nobody's going to take care of your business as well as you do. And I understand you might have growth, in your future and whatnot, but you need to make sure that you're building on a solid foundation. Don't grow beyond your means, establish something and then move on, so yeah, I would say taking their eye off the ball.
Yeah, no, well, that's great. This was terrific. We covered a lot of ground. Any last words for the audience?
Audience being future franchisees.
Our current franchisees who are learning how to be, you talked about learning those efficiencies. How do you get your numbers in line? I meant to ask you how long that took you.
You know what? A matter of months, because when your numbers are not in line, it creates a panic and you start to lose sleep over it. And, because the overall health of your business is in jeopardy. So when that's happening, it's a panic, so the sooner you get those numbers in line, the better your quality of life will be.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting as I see a lot of folks come in and they start talking about, we're going to have a manager. I'm going to be in there for the first month. It takes a while to get the efficiency built. It takes a while to get your team built. It takes a while to build that trust you talked about with a manager. I also heard you need to get ready to work a lot of hours and work hard.
Absolutely. Whatever it takes to get your business off the ground. Once you're on a solid foundation, then you can start building up. Other than that, stay put, get your numbers in check, and get ready to work because it is an uphill battle at first.
Yeah, well, I want everybody to expect that. But you've got 2 successful shops out of the ground. You've got another one opening up soon. And the last one just signed a lease for, and that'll be open when? Sometime middle of this year?
Yes, middle of this year will definitely be open.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time, Mario. I'm sure you may have some people calling you up, want to talk to you a little bit about your experience, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time.
All right, Mike. Take care.